Ragin Cajuns quarterback Lunch Winfield returning to Louisiana. We talk about the transfer portal next on Locked On Sunbelt.
You are Locked On Sunbelt, your daily podcast on the Sunbelt Conference, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, Dave Schultz, Locked On Sunbelt, your team every day. Thanks very much for making Locked On the number one sports network, podcast network in America. All right, we will get to the Bobcats leaving the Sunbelt in style. We got to do that on Monday. And JMU with a big win over Arkansas State on Saturday in basketball. But the news on Monday came, and interestingly enough, there seems to be a quarterback controversy, or maybe there isn't. All right, we haven't heard. I have not seen. Please let me know if I missed it. Walker Howard's decision. I believe he still has one more year of eligibility left. Playing at home in Lafayette. We don't know about that. But Lunch Winfield, who showed so much promise for the Ragin Cajuns this year until he got banged up at the end of the year, came in, rallied the Ragin Cajuns to a huge, double overtime win against the Marshall Thundering Herd. And he is returning to the Ragin Cajuns. I presume, all right, there's a little bit of money attached. He deserves it, and that's what we are in this era, okay? And so we will wait and see where, how it plays out, all right? Again, they could be both coming back. We'll see how it works out. Is there a competition, all right? Because we mentioned another episode or in the recaps or previews that Gio Lopez, South Alabama's former quarterback, went to Carolina, got the bag. Bill Belichick went out and got another quarterback. Guess who's entering the transfer portal? Gio Lopez. Now, if he got his $2 million for the year, then it's not bad. All right? If that's what it turned out to be. And we'll go over some other guys where they landed. We know more about Sunbelt players landing someplace than we do have Sunbelt players coming in just right now. For example, AJ Swann to Mississippi State. Really? And so we'll see if Gio Lopez, I don't know how you find out if he actually got the money, but that was reported by numerous reports. 2 years, $4 million. He got the $2 million. I don't know. Obviously, he's not going to get the second $2 million. On the other hand, I saw this today or on Monday. Former Cajuns quarterback Zeon is transferring from Houston. Some of this is not his fault. Some of this is on him, or most of it may not be his fault. But this is where the transfer portal 100% did not work out. All right. Zeon from, I think, Zachary, right? Louisiana through and through. Comes in and shows some promise for the Cajuns, but then he gets banged up along with Ben Wooldridge. All right. So he's going to Houston. Rumors is that it's $1 million. Can't blame him. Rumors reported, whatever the case may be. It's supposed to be $1 million. From my understanding, it was about 10% of that. Right. Then they bring in Willie Fritz after Zeon is there for a year. Then they bring in Connor Wegman, right, from A&M. And he's the quarterback moving forward. So he had competition at the time. And then they bring in another quarterback, Connor Wegman, and Zeon is out. I don't think Zeon didn't get the money that he was promised, as far as I know, right? He is not the only person that has happened to. That some of these valuations are not anywhere near what these players are getting. And so now Zeon's going to end up at Southern, playing for Marshall Falk, which isn't bad, right? You could learn a lot playing football for Marshall Falk, another Louisiana guy through and through. However, I am told, sources tell me, that Zeon was urged, as you can imagine, to stick around with the Ragin Cajuns for one more year. A couple years ago. They're going to be really good. All right. Have an experienced offensive line and go out and win the Sunbelt Championship. Well, they competed for it. They didn't win it. They went and played for it in their own backyard, but then they were back down to quarterback number 3, and that didn't work out. And so they were trying to tell him, you're selling yourself short because you can go get a lot of money, all right? More than you're being offered right now. And so because some of these guys are being offered a ton of money, all right? Apparently, the top QB, Brendan Sorsby from Cincinnati, signed a $5 million deal with Texas Tech. All right. Now that may have more to do with Texas Tech than anything else. But Sorsby didn't win anything. Cincinnati hasn't won anything. Cincinnati hasn't been very good for a while. And so some guy with the look of a quarterback, I guess. I don't know what his stats are. I just know Cincinnati hasn't been that great over the last few years, late, right? But they just went out and gave Sorsby $5 million, reportedly. Now, I don't know if Zeon Chris could have gotten that as the Sunbelt champion or playing for Sunbelt team, but I think his options would have been more if he could have stayed one more year. I'm all for some of these guys leaving. All right, Colton Joseph, you get $2 million going to Wisconsin. I don't know if that's necessarily the right fit. But they haven't been very good lately. But if he went and got $2 million, which has been reported, and I think Colton Joseph may be NFL talent bound, certainly athletic enough to do that, probably needs to be a little bit more consistent and a little bit more accurate. But again, if he's getting $2 million, if it's true, then you got to go. I don't happen to think Alonzo Barnett III is NFL quarterback ready, but he landed at UCF, and how much money that is, that could be, I don't know, is it $500,000? Is it $1 million? Is it $2 million? That's a lot of money, all right, if that's all true, all right? And hopefully these guys have learned to make sure they're getting that money, as much of it as possible up front. Maybe there's some on the back end if you have to play in a bowl game or something. All right. So we have some good and bad when it comes to the transfer portal. And usually the player ends up on the short end of the stick. Usually. All right. Some other players. Let's see if we can go through some players from the Sunbelt who have landed in bigger spots. AJ Swann, as we mentioned, from App State to Mississippi State. All right. You do have Jaylen Raynor going to Arkansas State. I mean, you hope that's got a lot of money written to it because Iowa State's a mess. They're not going to be very good next year. We don't think. All right. We do wish Jaylen Raynor all of the best. Although it may mean Baker's High Josh Flowers, who I saw play in high school football, may be the starting quarterback next year for Arkansas State. Hashtag always a bright side for Josh Flowers. You do have, let's see here, Braden McAllister, kicker for Georgia State, going to Arkansas. All right. We did see some, let me see here. Lakata Dupre, JMU tight end, going to Florida, interestingly enough. J.D. Raynor from JMU joining Bob Chesney at UCLA. You do have Ayo Adai, JMU running back, going to Oklahoma State. Cajuns running back, Bill Davis, going to Vatech. And this is one I wanted. You got Nehemiah Chandler, defensive back for South Alabama, going to Florida State. Again, this is a little bit of a list. You can go see it at our guy, Jeremy Harper's, howlrazor.com. He's got the portal there. That's mostly guys incoming. Well, that was all guys incoming. I would say outgoing. That's what I meant. All guys from the Sunbelt leaving. We'll see if we can get a list of incoming guys that would be duly noted. All right. All right. Bobcats leaving the Sunbelt in style. They had a big win on Friday in the Armed Forces Bowl. We'll talk about that next, right after I tell you about Rocket Money. Let's be real. Managing your finances can feel overwhelming. Between subscriptions you forgot about, bills that keep on going, and trying to figure out where your money actually goes each month, it's easy to feel like you're losing control. And who has time to track every transaction or hunt down hidden fees? That's where Rocket Money comes in, the personal finance app that helps you take control. It finds and cancels your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. I love how it tracks all my subscriptions and let me cancel them right in the app with just a few taps. No more hunting down customer service numbers. The automatic transaction categorization is a game changer. I can finally see exactly where my money is going each month. You can set budgets and goals, get personalized insights, and receive real-time alerts for large transactions, upcoming bills, and low balances. It even consolidates your checking, savings, loans, and investments into a single dashboard so you get a clear view of your entire financial picture. Let Rocket Money help you reach your financial goals faster. Join at rocketmoney.com/lockedon. That's rocketmoney.com/lockedon. rocketmoney.com/lockedon. All right, Dave Schultz, Locked On Sunbelt, your teams every day. I do apologize to the Bobcats fans, the ones that are here. Sean is watching all the time. Appreciate that. I literally forgot about it and remembered it when I was recording yesterday's episode. So certainly wanted to do it for Monday. I didn't, so we're doing it on Tuesday. They went out with a great victory in the Armed Forces Bowl against Rice. Had a pretty good crowd there, I thought. In Fort Worth, 41-10, Texas State easily over Rice. And that's the third straight bowl victory for G.J. Kinney and Texas State. So they did not reach their potential, as we've mentioned, over the last couple of years, although I'm not sure what their potential was with a new quarterback this year. Certainly 2 seasons ago, I, among many, thought that Texas State was going to win the division, and they didn't. All right. The defense has been a problem for Texas State the last 2 seasons, not in the Armed Forces Bowl against Rice. Rice held to 195 yards, 101 on the ground, just 94 in the air. Meanwhile, Texas State, 436 yards of offense, and it came from everybody. Brad Jackson, 17 out of 24, 173 yards, 3 touchdowns in the air. On the ground, Brad Jackson, 14 carries, 52 yards, 1 touchdown. All right, the running back, Lincoln Perry, 11 attempts, 106 yards, 1 touchdown. That's 9.5 yards a carry. Lincoln Perry listed at 5'9", maybe, all of 200 pounds. He put that foot in the ground, and he was gone, and he had a 63-yard run. All right, you did have Chris Dawn. That's who it is. 11 catches, 75 yards, 2 touchdowns. And Bo Sparks, he had 1 touchdown. He made a fantastic move on the sideline on, what they, described as a, 3 or 4 yard hitch pass. Made a guy broke a tackle, made one guy miss, and he's off to the races. And again, just think about where we are with Texas State. Texas State is getting to the point where they're going to be like Cajuns fans. Like, getting to a bowl game is not going to be enough. Or in the case of the Cajuns, they want to win a bowl game. They haven't won one since Mike Desmo's first game. They keep on going to them, but they haven't won one. But somewhere along the way, Cajuns fans got bored with going to New Orleans Bowl every year. Wasn't good enough. They went like 4 years in a row, 5 out of 6 times. They ended up going again. That was Desmo's first win, beating Charles Huff and Marshall. We've talked about that a lot. All right. But Texas State has raised that floor to where the bowl game is expected. That was not heard of before G.J. Kinney got there. All right. Now, Texas State is going to tell you they're going to be in a conference where they're going to have an opportunity, to get to the playoff. That's what they're going to tell you. All right. Because of the competition that's going to be in there with the Boise States, with the San Diego States. There's going to be those teams that are just on the outside looking in, if not inside the top 25. Whereas the Sunbelt has to beat a Power 4 team to get in there and then climb and stay perfect as everybody else loses and they move up. The Sunbelt just doesn't have that. Maybe if Bob Chesney came back, JMU would have been, let's just say everybody comes back. Bob Chesney, Alonzo Barnett III, Wayne Knight. They all come back. Are they going to be in the top 25? Maybe, maybe not. But they'd be in the top 30. You could bet that. They'd be right there. They'd all get votes. They'd get plenty of votes. And you only have to win a couple of ball games to get back in the top 25. Let's see if we can get see if we got a 26 schedule yet. We certainly probably have some of those opponents. All right. But that's what they're going to have. That's what Texas State, anyways, is going to have. What they believe in the Pac-12 2.0. All right. JMU's got Liberty, Wagner, Virginia Tech, UConn. Virginia Tech, if they're playing that game, that's at Vatech. That's September 26th. We'll see if Virginia Tech backs out of that ball game. Who knows what Liberty's going to be like. But if they went into Virginia Tech, beat Virginia Tech, and that's James Franklin, they'd be in the top 20. Right? Forget the top 25. They'd be top 20. So that's what Texas State is going to hopefully have, from their point of view, is have teams within the conference that you can get nice wins against, whereas not so much, at least this past year, and usually not the case with the Sunbelt. That is the case. All right. Boise State is national. San Diego State has some stuff. Maybe others in the conference as well. So we do wish GJ Kinney all the best. All right. He may have, for the first time in his tenure, the same quarterback back, right? Brad Jackson, he was a freshman last year, sophomore this year. I presume he's coming back. I have not seen his name in the portal. I guess that's always a possibility. But for the first time in GJ Kinney's career, he's going to have the same quarterback year after year. And we'll see how many players from Texas State go into the portal. I have not seen that many. Obviously, Jeremy Harper's not counting them anymore. They're not in there. Although I would say at the same time, La Tech's not in there either. Interesting. Let me see if Texas State does have some. Oh, Texas State does have plenty. Well, not plenty, but a couple. Tyler Robles is the kicker, second team. Keldrick Luster, quarterback. Javis Minette. Ty Mims, wide receiver. Ryan Nolan. Holden Grenier, he's been around a long time. Jaylen Jenkins, running back. Second team special teams. So there is a little bit more in a handful. My bad. All right. My bad. So there are a couple there, and Jeremy is keeping track of it. So we'll see if anybody else, but I think those are a lot of bench players, guys who may get starts this year, but obviously the quarterback position is taken by Brad Jackson. All right, let's come back. We'll wrap up the Saturday ball games that we did not get to and start to look ahead to this week's basketball games as well. We'll do that right after I thank you. All right, we're still cooking. I think we lost a couple subscribers, but that's all right. We live and learn with the topics that we discussed. But I do thank you. We are, again, we'll say 135 subscribers away from 3,000, which I still think we can get by February 13th. I really do. Plans are, how about this one? Kind of SEC and Sunbelt. Plans are to head down to Louisiana. Cajuns are hosting UC San Diego in baseball. That's not the reason I'm going, but that is what happens to the Sunbelt. We'll name drop here. Northeastern is playing LSU. I know the Northeastern coach, if you followed baseball last year. Talked about that a lot. So it'd be pretty cool. I haven't seen him in 20 years or so. Maybe not quite that long. I'm pretty close. And he's coming down. He's coming down there. So we're heading down there, and we're looking forward to it. So that's the end of February, beginning of March. I have that weekend off already, but we'll take a couple extra days so we can have some fun in South Louisiana. All right. And check some things out down there. But I do want to thank you. Just want to let people know that I'm coming potentially. I just want to thank everybody for their support. It's been a wild ride. We'll see if this basketball season, Georgia Southern's a nice surprise, right? 9 straight, haven't lost since Thanksgiving. And we'll see where this goes with baseball. But we're looking forward to baseball. I think Coastal's going to be good again. So Miss is going to be good again. We'll see if the Cajuns can turn things around. We like the improvement with Arkansas State. Lots of potential here. Will Troy find their way into the NCAA tournament? There's always a bunch of storylines when it comes to Sunbelt baseball, and ULM has a brand new coach. So lots to do when we get there. But please go subscribe. Go to YouTube and Lockdown Sunbelt and subscribe. Please spread the word. Really a big, big help. Also, by the way, let's see if we got this. If you are interested in not paying for, I would phrase that. If you are interested in skipping the commercials, thank you for making Locked On Sunbelt your first listen of the day. And thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. You already live Sunbelt every day. Now take it up a level and go ad-free. Join the Everydayer Club and get Locked On Sunbelt with no interruptions, members-only Discord access, and more for all just $5 a month or $50 a year. Go to lockedonsunbelt.supercast.com or check the link in the show notes to learn more. So you get the same product. You can just get it without the ads. But without the ads, you do pay a little bit, but very little. $5 a month, easy peasy. So I appreciate that. But that's just an added bonus for the people who are here all the time and want to skip the ads. All right. Thank you so much. All right, Dave Schultz, Locked On Sunbelt, your teams every day. All right. JMU with a nice win on the road on Saturday against Arkansas State. JMU 78-74. JMU has not played well this year. Let's be honest. They were picked to win the division, win the conference. They'd come in with 3 straight losses, losing to Old Dominion, losing to Georgia Southern, and running into Arkansas. All right. So maybe that was a wake-up call or well-timed, but then they beat Arkansas State 78-74. And Arkansas State is pretty good. They were 10-4 coming in, 2-0 in the Sunbelt. They got some nice wins on the road, and JMU was able to hold them off 39-34 at half and hold on to win it 78-74. JMU did a great job of defense because listen to this. How do you don't usually lose when this happens. JMU shot a robust 53%, 27 of 51. Arkansas State made 25 field goals, 2 less than JMU. That's the difference in the ball game. But they shot it 70 times. Only shot 36%. Both teams made 8 3-pointers. But Arkansas State, 8 for 32. And that's the difference. Both teams made exactly 16 free throws. JMU 16 for 26, Arkansas State 16 for 27. Make a couple more and you're in the ballgame. Surprisingly, Arkansas State just had a 42-38 rebounding advantage. But how about this one? 20 offensive rebounds for Arkansas State to just 7 for JMU. All right. This game was there for the taking. In fact, it does say, did they lead? Maybe this one was slipped away from Arkansas State. Arkansas State led most of the game. And they had a nice 9-point lead in the first half early. They let that slip away. They let this one slip away, didn't they? They were down 39-34, but then led it 48-40. That's a 14-1 run to begin the second half. And that happened in about less than 3 minutes. That's how fast Arkansas State came out to begin the second half, and they just could not hold them off. Holy cow. That you don't see very often. Then it went the other way. This was 50-46. Arkansas State, and then JMU is up 56-50. That's a 10-0 run in Jonesboro. Don't see that very often. So this is a classic basketball game. Look to see if, Arkansas State took the lead again, 60-58. And so they're back and forth all the way from there. Arkansas State led 67-62 with 6:33 to go. It was all tied at 71. And it didn't get tied at 73. Chandler Jackson missed a free throw. It became 76-72, 76-74, and then they're making them hit free throws, and they did. So that's even more of an impressive win than I realized for JMU. So that's a good job by the Dukes to go into Jonesboro and come from behind and beat Arkansas State. JMU got 24 points from Cliff Davis, 5 of 5 from the free throw line, 7 of 12 from the floor, 5 of 7 from 3. Justin McBride, he had 21 points. Gabe Newhoff had 15. For Arkansas State, Chandler Jackson, 19 points, 0 of 4 from 3, though. And Jackson Ellingsworth had 12. Coming off the bench, though, Matt Heyman. How about this? 23 points in 25 minutes. 5 of 8 from 3. Did make 2 free throws, both of his attempts. So James Madison, 8-7, 1-2 in the Sunbelt. Arkansas State, 10-5, 2-1 in the Sunbelt. All right, let's see. Off the top of my head, I can't quite remember which games we did and did not do. Let's see if we can remember. I don't think we have that many ball games left to go over. We did Georgia Southern, right? We did JMU, and we did Georgia State, we did Southern Miss, and we did Troy and South Alabama. All right, so Texas State with a win over Monroe. We did Marshall, so this is probably the last one. Texas State beats Monroe 84-79. Texas State improves to 2-2 in the Sunbelt, 9-7 overall. Monroe drops to 0-4 in the Sunbelt, 13-3 overall. Let's see here. Texas State, DJ Hall had 17 points, but Mark Drone led the way with 24 points, 9 of 14 shooting, 3 of 6 from 3, 3 of 3 free throws. Caden Gums did a chip in with 12, and Jaylen Bolden had 13 off the bench. 4 of the 5 starters in double figures for Monroe. Lavelle Broadnax with 23, Christian Lewis with 21, MJ Russell with 16, and Renars Saunders with 10. Tough stuff for Monroe. They shot at 50%. They shot 50% from 3. They weren't 2 of 4. They were 12 of 24. You usually don't lose ball games like that. Even if the other team shoots 36 for 70, that's a lot of points. The rebounding edge was huge for Texas State, 40-25. So they did make 8 more shots. But usually when you hit 12 3-pointers for 24, you win going away. Not only did they get, the turnover is a huge difference. Not only did they get out-rebounded, they did commit 14 turnovers. Now, Texas State committed 13, but still 14 when you lose is just too many. So that's where we are, Texas State over Monroe. We do have some games on Wednesday this week and Thursday. Marshall is at JMU. That's a big ball game for both teams. Marshall's playing well. JMU with that big win over Arkansas State. Meanwhile, Troy 10-5 taking on Arkansas State 10-5. Troy is 3-0. Arkansas State is 2-1. Both those games will be on ESPN Plus. And on Thursday, a little bit more of a fuller slate, I guess. App State's taking on Georgia State in Atlanta. Coastal Carolina hosting Old Dominion. Texas State is at Southern Miss. And Monroe at the Cajuns. That may be the Cajuns' only 2 wins of the year. They have beat Monroe. All right. And we'll see if Monroe, we've got to think the only chance we're going to have to win is to beat the Cajuns. So we better do that then. All right. We shall see how that goes. Georgia Southern and South Alabama not playing. We talked about that yesterday. They will play on Saturday, national TV, 2 p.m. Eastern time, 1 p.m. Central time. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in. We will have another great edition, probably more on the transfer portal come Wednesday. We'll see if guys sign into the Sunbelt and where some more players go out. Again, who knows if this is true? I saw 9,000 players going into the portal. You're just not. A lot of players are going to be left out when that music stops. And it's going to be interesting to see if anybody blames the representation, because that's going to be a problem with some people. It's going to happen. It's unfortunate. Hopefully it doesn't, because again, anything bad that happens is usually the kid ends up on the short end of the stick. All right. That's the problem. All right. Everybody else gets taken care of except the player, which is always the case. All right. Let's take, we're not taking the time out. We're done. All right. Want to say we'll say good night. All right. Everybody have a great Tuesday. We'll be back Wednesday with another edition of A Locked on Sunbelt. Your teams every day.